How you doing, guys? This is Eric, and this video is about one particular mistake that most preppers make. And the interesting thing about this mistake is it isn't just rookie preppers. It also happens to preppers who've been doing this for a long time. In fact, I would venture to say that it more often happens to experienced preppers because of the prepper mindset. And just once your brain starts finding out, all the different things that you might need and sort of evaluating different possible scenarios. The mistake that most preppers make is they just start preparing in a very vague sense for almost every conceivable what-if scenario, and they don't have a specific goal in mind. There's no end point. So this tends to turn away a lot of beginning preppers because they sort of start out almost the right way, sort of by instinct, like, oh, I just want to get 72-hour kit or something like that. And then the people who know more about the subject of preparedness start coming in and saying, oh, well, if this happens, you need this, and you want this because of this, and this because, and it's just, they get overwhelmed. There's no end to it. And so a lot of times they don't do anything at all. And for people who are into preparedness, this is sort of an ongoing mindset. It doesn't really seem like a big issue, but it does cause some problems. One of the problems that it causes, obviously, is you can get burned out because you never have a specific endpoint. And also it causes your preparations to be uneven and sort of arbitrary because your decisions on what to prepare for are based on just whatever feels like it's important at that moment and not based on a specific goal. So as an example, what my specific goal is, my mission statement for preparedness is I want to be self-sufficient for 6 months and not have to rely on any outside systems of support for up to 6 months, hopefully. That means electricity, that means, emergency services, food, water, shelter, all that stuff. 6 months, that's my goal. And then have some ability to leave and bug out if I need to during that 6-month time frame. So my bug out goal is less specific because I don't know what the scenario is, but I want to have some capability to leave if I need to. And that's more about how my preparations are structured more so than the preparations themselves, because beyond a few specific things that you have to do to be able to bug out, like bags and maybe your vehicle or something like that, it's the same things that you would need. You just wouldn't be able to take as many of them. I think 6 months is a good point for beginning preppers. I think that you can start with a hell of a lot less time. I think if everyone in the country had simply 1 week's worth of supplies, there's not many disasters that could cause you to be unprepared. Obviously, the serious ones, you're going to be struggling, but it doesn't matter what the disaster is. If you have any preparations, it's going to help you more than having nothing, obviously. Anything beyond 6 months, you're kind of reaching a point of diminishing returns, and also at that point you're going to have to start totally changing your lifestyle if you want to be prepared for time horizons out past a year, etc. And if that's your thing, that's fine, but you need to know that up front because that affects how you're going to change or how you're going to prepare. If your goal is to be self-sufficient for almost an indefinite amount of time or maybe several years, then you're going to be doing things a little different than someone like me who just wants to be self-sufficient for 6 months for 2 people and 2 dogs. Because obviously you need more food, more water, but you probably can't just store more stuff when you're looking at a time frame of that long. You're probably going to go more into a homesteading type situation. So as long as you know that ahead of time, that's fine, and that can direct how you spend your energy, how you spend your money, because you might be doing things that are a complete waste of time if that's your real goal, and vice versa. So one of the examples I think I've used way back in the day is if someone wants to be prepared for a month, there's no point in buying 6-8 pairs of hiking boots because there's just and then not having more than 2 weeks worth of water because you're just not going to need that many boots in a month time frame, but you are going to need that water. And then once you get to your specific point where you've accomplished that goal, then you can reevaluate and see if maybe there's something else you want to do. You don't want to get stuck into this mindset where you're always trying to just add more, though, because I think that really burns people out. Like I said, it scares away the newbies. And never being able to be finished is just not the right way to go about it. You definitely want to be able to have a spot where you say, you know what, I'm pretty reasonably prepared. In the absence of new information or maybe a new technology that comes out, it's a better way of doing things, and you want to get that instead, or just replacing things. You want to be able to get to a point where you're just maintaining. Similar to pretty much like physical fitness or anything else. You don't always just want to say, oh, I just want to be better, I want to be better, because, well, it's always a good goal to want to improve your situation. If you have that mindset, it can almost be self-defeating because you're less motivated. If you have no ending point, any little thing you do doesn't necessarily seem as important. You don't know exactly what need to be doing at any given point. Once you have a specific goal, it sets up a very specific framework for you of what you need to do to be prepared. It makes it a hell of a lot easier and a hell of a lot more simple, because if you're worried about, like, oh, should I do this or do that, it makes it very simple, because you either have one category where you need to get to the 6 month point or whatever your point is, or both, so then it doesn't matter what you do. And then there's certain things that you can just disregard completely, or certain things that obviously become more important. So that's a mistake, is not having a very specific goal in what you want to be in terms of how you want to structure preparedness. Your end goal, you need to have that figured out ahead of time. And it can change, you don't need to, say, oh, I don't want to pick a month, because then if I find out later that things are more serious, you can always change it if you want. But you want to do it based on a conscious decision, not just, oh, I feel like I need more. I don't feel secure, so I just want to get more stuff. So I'm going to get all the 50 tubes of toothpaste because I feel like you would need toothpaste, and oh, I'm going to need this because if that happens, and oh, if this happened, I might need this, and oh, I'm going to get all these extra cigarettes because I don't smoke, but if I needed to trade with somebody, that can just go on and on and on. Your mind will just run crazy like that. It needs to be based on your specific model for how you think this is going to go. And if you're wrong, you're wrong. All of us are going to be wrong about some things, but you'll still be better off if you're prepared sufficiently within your model than if you're just haphazardly preparing. So let me know what you guys think about that. Let me know what your specific preparedness model is, whether that's to be completely self-sufficient homestead style, if you just want to be able to weather normal, kind of basic shit, advanced scenarios like blizzards and weather and small things of civil unrest, anywhere from 72 hours to a couple weeks, or if you're like me and you want to focus on the 6 months to a year kind of time frame of self-sufficiency. So post that in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and let me know if you like this backdrop better or worse. It's sort of a combination of just trying to change it up and actually utilizing the space behind me for some of my preparedness gear. So let me know if you're pro, con, or neutral on the new backdrop, because I might leave it, I might change it, who knows, we'll see. I could always drape the brick fascia backdrop just over the shelf too and kind of get the best of both worlds. So let me know, guys. Thanks for watching.